All right, welcome back to Spooky Saturday. Today we're going to delve into the Skinwalker Ranch. They had a new documentary. Well, it's from 2018, but it's new to the cryptid type world. Hunt for the Skinwalker, and actually, we touched on the Skinwalker in one of our first shows because
Mhm.
what actually started us talking about this. And speaking of starting, I just wanted to. So, if anybody were to wonder, the Skinwalker itself, the name and that particular cryptid ties into the cryptozoology, handbook. Um, One of the earliest things I did on YouTube because I had a hand in the cryptid world, mostly, Bigfoot to start at the top. Um, you'll hear in a lot of people who talk about cryptozoology, like, yeah, I was in the third grade and found a Bigfoot book in the library, and that was I also loved the woods, so it made sense. And later on, the Skinwalker comes up all the time, and its basic roots is mostly Navajo Indian, uh, where in the documentary, they say it's basically the witch doctor of the group who could become a werewolf, and they say that, and that's just kind of a way to explain it. Like it looks like a walking wolf, what we call a werewolf, but and I don't know why they even call it the Skinwalker Ranch because there's more than like there's everything on this ranch from UFOs, orbs, portals, Bigfoots, and you know
Poltergeist.
poltergeist is a really big one. And the it's funny when we were talking about the ranch, I mentioned it to you. You were like,
Mhm.
"Oh wow, that sounds cool," and they bring up the biggest story in the documentary, which we'll get to, which is the cattle being moved and stuff. But
Oh, yeah.
the poltergeist, that's the one that, like, yeah, the UFOs are interesting because that's always interesting, and um, orbs kind of go in that title. Now, one of the first stories they tell. Now, actually, to set it up, this is in Utah, Utah County, 480 acres, and multiple people have lived there. But the claim to fame was that Robert Bigelow, who was a millionaire, has like his own space station. They mentioned that.
Mhm.
He went to people who look into, like, they call them ufologists, and he went to people who look into cryptids, and he was one of the first people to give money and say, okay, you want to do this, but you're not funded well.
Mhm.
And as a little back info, I can tell you, I've heard and seen that there are sometimes big money people who give to people like this. Like the show Finding Bigfoot, the guy who runs it had a backer. Like there are people who have enough money, are interested in this stuff, and say, okay, if you think you can find X, go find X. So Skinwalker Ranch like ended up having the government involved and then money involved, so it wasn't a rinky dink thing. So that's why a lot of people are interested in it. So when George Knapp and the other guy, I apologize, I forgot his name. His book dropped in '03. That's when a lot of the info from the documentary came out. And then, so if we start at the beginning, obviously, like the First Nations people of that area spoke about that land being different, quote unquote, for hundreds of years. Then you, I think it was the '70s when the first people that like modern times talk about, that's the people who came and the poltergeist started, where what was it, like stacks of wood would move and tools would were found in the trees, and so the fact that people put money behind it, to at least to me and a lot of people, is like, that's interesting because we still don't know what's going on at that place. And the first story that I found cool, that and they bring up, is the wolf that they shot that didn't die, and like walked up to him and was really big,
Mm-hmm.
and like tried to almost stole a calf just by pulling it through the gate. They shot it with different guns. When they found the fur, it was almost ancient looking. So that's kind of where the Skinwalker, because people see these wolves that are just gigantic,
They're like
and
dire wolves, which are extinct wolves.
10,000 year old they would be, and
Mm-hmm.
like some of the wolves had dogs with them, and like it's just, on, even take any of the stories, pick one of them, and I think that's like, I couldn't imagine trying to live there or even being there.
Mm-mm.
Cattle mutilations, like that's terrible. I hate watching that, by the way.
Yeah, I don't want to
I
see
mean,
that.
it's just, yeah, it's sad and gross. But um, and if you look at like the interview in the documentary, of people who live around there don't stand to gain anything by telling a story. Like,
Mm-mm.
I doubt they're not getting paid. They're not making money off the documentary. So when they say, "Man, there was this ship sitting there," you got to think twice. And then, like in the Bigfoot community, like Skinwalker, okay, that brings our attention, but that's one place where every community in the cryptid world came together. So a UFO person could talk to a Bigfoot person, could talk to a Dogman person, to orbs,
Mm-hmm.
portals. They bring up
Kind
the
of have a
orange
little bit of
orb,
everything in the ranch, you know.
and that's the biggest part about it. There's a guy called Tennessee Bigfoot who has a channel out right now, and just last year he drove up to the gates to show everybody where it was,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks like you saw in the movie, just the big black metal gate, and you can't see any too far enough in to make out any houses. But I don't think I would even go to the gate, to tell you the truth, just in case.
So I'm staying away. Um,
Well, as they said, a lot of people, the stuff follows them home.
well, and a lot of people just said in that area, like, there's just a lot of weird stuff that happens to people. Everybody that lives around that location gets messed with, kind of. And it's almost like a game, whatever these things are. They do, kind of like little pranks and stuff on people. Um, one of the women said that, her son got cancer after he had a weird experience with a UFO or something, and she thinks that her other son has like MS because she thinks that they're giving off some kind of energy that's, maybe causing illnesses, because there is
Right?
a radiation. There's different things that can make us sick, that we can't be exposed to. And maybe some of the UFO technology can make people sick. I don't know.
Oh, there's a lot of stories in the UFO world about radiation being after the fact, but that woman in particular was interesting because she just broke down in the
Oh
middle.
yeah.
And like, if why would she be lying and go through all that? And if her son really died, like, I doubt she lied about that. So those are
Mhm.
the things you got to take into account. Like, that's a pretty interesting story for somebody to make up and go through all that trouble. And if her son died, I'm sure she could prove it.
Mhm.
And she said he was healthy, and then this light hit him, and kind of brings up, remember Fire in the Sky?
Mhm.
Like, a lot of people were hit by a light, and one of the women had missing time, which comes up a lot in UFO stories. Um,
Yeah. Well, there was a UFO story. It was like the Russian skiers. Have you ever heard of that story where they all
mhm.
died? They
Oh,
saw some weird
the
yellow lights.
Doltov Pass. I can't pronounce it, but
Well, you know what I'm talking about, where their like teeth were falling out and everything. Like all this
yeah,
weird stuff happened to them. Um, and could that just be military or like?
they ask. That's one of the things brought up in this. They even asked that lady, like, what do you think? She says it's government or it's for real. And they say, what do you think? She goes, it's for real. And, that's a question. The beginning and the end of the documentary, they show, and this came up in every community, I could see the Tic Tac UFO, because those were
Mhm.
all the images were in three different objects they showed. Those are military people tracking them and military people talking. And military people usually don't make jokes. And
Mhm.
like this thing was one of them, the Tic Tac one we talked about in one of the shows I was on, where the speed alone isn't anything we do on Earth. And then some like just stop and go the other way, classic UFO stuff. So
Mhm.
it also shows like, especially with the ranch itself, like all these the info and these things are starting to come out, and then it becomes up to us to weigh and judge what we're hearing and what we think of it. So, in a just a quick overview, do you believe that there's odd things going on at that place?
Oh, definitely. Just everybody's had weird experiences that's been there, Uh, people that don't even really believe in anything, it kind of turns them into some sort of, believer in the supernatural. I definitely think there's something weird about that place. But like the son said, he said that you could come here, you might see something, you might not, you could be here for months and not see anything. Like they're very random, and it seems like they want to play a game with people anyway. So if you're going to look for them, they might not even want to, they might want to make you look crazy or not show up or whatever. Like they seem like they are pretty intelligent, whatever they are or whatever's there, and
Yeah,
they spy on everybody.
yeah. Well, they show in the a lot the cameras that the NIDS or the NIDS, those science group, those cameras which are still there, like every time they put one up, no matter where they face it, something happened on the other side. Like all the
Yeah,
stuff that
they're
happened
just messing
new.
with people. It's like
But
they're playing with everybody.
that's the thing they bring up a lot is this thing, whatever is going on, shows intelligence. Like
Oh,
everything,
mhm.
and the biggest story is, and I actually told you this way back in I think our first show, where those cows were moved into a container
Oh, yeah, they were stacked.
and the door wasn't open, it was still locked, and all the metal was magnetized. Like that makes no sense. And
Mhm.
those bulls were like in a daze, like for a while. Like they acted weird, and they showed pictures of them actually. Like
Mhm.
they would just stare at you, and they never acted the same for a while. And for
They're
me,
probably traumatized. Something messed up
I'm
happened to them.
sure. For me, and I think you would agree, like all the stuff in the house, like you put something down and it disappears and shows up somewhere else.
Mhm.
Or when he said the post hole digger was up in a tree balanced perfectly, that's where I would be like, all right, we gotta go. But
Mm.
I would visit the place. Would you go there?
I would go there. I would want to be like, geared up with some stuff, you know, um, and I would want to have a nice camera. I would want to have some things with me if I did go, um, because I would probably just investigate. I think I don't know. It might be fun to just stay there for a week and just investigate the place too. Like,
Yeah.
just do
Well,
some research.
I like the story where they were using like 3D, let's say 3D, but they were using like infrared technology,
Hmm.
and they could see in 3D and like a being was crawling out.
Mm.
Like I don't, true or not, like when they said like the orange disc could be seen by different people, different times, and some said, yeah, it looked like a different sky on the other side. Like that's interesting.
I've seen weird like lights myself before when I was like just a few years ago. I saw some weird orange light. It was outside and it was like bouncing around. It was very close. It wasn't up in the sky and everything. It was very close, and it just kind of bounced around and then just disappeared. And I never knew what that was, but I don't really talk about it a lot because it was just so like a weird little short experience I had. So I
No,
do think people do see weird, funky lights and stuff. And a lot of these people said this the lights they see are brighter than the sun and stuff. Like they're saying it's like
yeah.
insane, and then it changes colors. Um, you know.
Well, I can tell you, like, as far as lights go, me and Mrs. M in our first house, like, there was a military base behind us and an airport,
hmm
not too far from us, but we were watching this blue light that was like well, an airplane couldn't be. It was so low, and it just blipped out, and
mm,
things like that. But I can tell you, there's in the it's in the Bigfoot world a lot where people take pictures of what looks like a vortex, and
hmm
the Bigfoots are the portals come up a lot because they'll just disappear, or there's two footprints and then nothing, and it's like okay, like so there's a correlation, like it makes sense. So these stories, but the fact that this all happens at that one place is very interesting. Now, the Skinwalker Ranch, like I said, when the book came out, it was '03. It became a big talking point. This documentary showed who owned it, and he made his voice different in the thing and didn't give away his identity,
hmm
whatever. But it seems they're still investigating the place, and I think that's very cool. But I don't think we'll ever know. I don't think they would tell us, tell you the truth.
No, and the thing is like when you have a weird supernatural experience, it really is so personal because even when you tell other people, like that, still that's not going to help them out any. Like they might not even believe you at all.
Well,
Even
no,
when
I meant like if somebody actually documents something,
hmm
no higher up, no government, I don't think they're gonna do it yet. Like I don't think they
well,
feel we're ready. But
I think there's a lot of supernatural stuff that they know about that they don't tell
oh
us.
yeah, oh
Uh,
yeah.
I mean, you gotta even think about like the Men in Black. Like, there's all kinds of like freaky stuff or whatever that's top secret or whatever.
There's a
Um,
there's a big battle in the Bigfoot world about does the government know? Because if it comes out, the logging industry would be destroyed, and then UFOs. People still talk about Roswell like the government knows, and look at Area 51. It was kind of the joke about the Naruto run
mhm.
recently, which it just ended up in a dance party, but that place is still talked about now. Supposedly, there's an Area 52 that we don't know about, but the fact that somebody said that means we know. But it's still like it's in the lexicon. But
Yeah.
I don't think the government itself would just come out. Yes, they're real. Yes,
No, but
people.
I mean, there's rumors though that the government has like little aliens and stuff they did autopsies on. I mean, like, how do we know that's not real? We don't know one way or another, kind of. But and there was some kind of stuff on government websites where they talked about how they found the little grays or whatever, and they found one of their
There's
little
grays and
spaceship.
greens. Yeah.
And it was in the 50s, I believe, when this happened, and like the government officials they found like a little saucer and they found three little
Mhm.
gray aliens and there was a whole article and it's on a government website you can read about it but people don't really I mean people talk about it but they don't make such a big deal about it. It's like shouldn't this be like national news or something? I mean this is that should
Well,
kind of
one thing people always bring up, and it is very interesting, is that we've made more like advances in technology in the last like 50 years than the previous like 100 before that. And a lot of it started after things like the Roswell crash would have happened. And it's like, did we get that technology? Because, like, I believe you said you are a Star Trek fan, right? I think you said the new generation.
yeah.
Okay. No, I like that and the classic too, because, I grew up watching that. But it's funny in that show, they hold communicators, right? Like he's like Captain's log. Well, that's just a cell phone. And Dr. Bones uses like a handheld thing, goes over a person to tell somebody what's wrong with them. That's just an MRI. Like
Hmm.
we are slowly getting to like I guess we'll have a phaser one day. I don't know. But we literally we're doing what we saw in that show. It's actually kind of cool.
Hmm.
Compared to like Star Wars, we probably won't have a lightsaber anytime soon. But if an alien thing crashed, like fiber optics came like right after that, like Roswell, computers got smaller and better. Like it could be that, or we just became smarter people, and but
Well, like I said, don't underestimate people from the past. Like I said,
oh no,
I mean, they had some pretty cool technology, I mean, the plumbing and all that stuff. They did that, in the Roman times, so they weren't dum dums. But I don't know. Are you trying to get at that maybe the possibilities are that the aliens helped them make the technology, or
no. The theory
are you
is
just
that
getting at that we just got
after the
ideas
Ros,
from sci-fi?
we re what do they call it? Re-engineered or back engineered, whatever they call it. Like we took that, found their technology and used it and
Oh,
figured
okay.
out, not used it, but like, we went from in a short time, like landline telephones to the computers are in the palm of our hands, you know?
Oh, so you're saying that there could be a possibility that we found alien technology and then we just kind of
Like
observed it and then made it like kind of took their
they
ideas.
use they use the Roswell crash as a good selling point. There's also you can look it up, a big conspiracy about it's called the Kecksburg crash in
Mhm.
Pennsylvania, and it
Mhm.
was a bell shaped, if you might have heard of that. And if the government takes that and then re-engineers it, you know, and then suddenly our technology gets better in a very short period of time, it could be that, and that's just one big theory.
No, that's
But
fun.
it also takes smart people. So, you know,
No, I mean you gotta be smart, but you also, like you can have some help though too.
no, and or we have made contact and they are straight up helping us, and we just don't know. Or go so far as the reptilian theory, not that they've infiltrated the government,
Oh,
but
reptilians, I like those.
we could be working with them and they're not controlling us. And again, the government doesn't think the world is ready, so they just don't outright tell us.
Well, they
But
say the theory of the reptilians is that the moon is just like a spaceship and they live inside of it.
yeah, it's supposed to be hollow. And I think what is the like they said when the moon lander landed, it rang like a bell
Oh,
because it's
really?
hollow. Well, it is just a big rock. I mean, let's be
How
frank
do you
about it.
feel about the moon landings? I think they're real, but some people don't.
I personally think if it did happen, cool, but we haven't been back because there's nothing there but rock. And if they faked it, that would really serve no purpose
Well, they said we
because
don't have the technology to do it again for some reason, but I do think that we've been to
eh,
the moon, but I don't know.
I
That's
think there's
kind of a
nothing there to go back to. Like,
that's a controversial subject with
or we're
people.
going back and they're building stuff we can't see.
Well, they're doing the one trip out to Mars or something, aren't they? They're sending guys
Yeah.
out there. You ain't gonna come back home, so you gotta go live on
They
Mars.
they 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 said that those people know they're going to be buried on Mars.
Hmm.
Hey,
So
oh, there's nothing there to see either. So,
yeah, it sounds really boring. So I don't know if I'd volunteer for that.
have you ever seen the movie Total Recall with Schwarzenegger?
Hmm.
That's what everybody said. It would be like an enclosed city. We can't go on the outside, but we could live in the
Mm,
controlled environment if we wanted to be there for some weird reason. But I hope we
yeah, I
go there
don't
just
know.
to see, like, go dig around. We
Well, why
have
can't
little
we just
rovers.
yeah, just send the robots there? Don't send people
They're
there.
there. I think you can tap into the feed on the rover.
Well, maybe
And,
they should send people though, because it's like,
well,
dude, it's like human beings, dude. Like, then you gotta
yeah,
come home.
mm,
It's like you gotta
no,
say bye to your family, and then you just never
you
come
could
back.
say you get to. I say get to say, but the world will know you're that person, and they'll probably name a building after you or something.
Well, whatever.
Well, but that let's bring it back. That the big thing about the main topic they stuck with the ranch was UFOs because
Yeah,
they're
there's a
still
lot of
seen today.
yeah.
You know, the people see ships in front of them. It's not. They made it clear, like, no, it wasn't far away. It was right in front of me.
Hmm.
And like you had pointed out, like many people say, yeah, it was dark. Everything lit up like it was daytime or brighter. Then
Hmm.
it was dark again, like the light switch.
Hmm.
That I could that would be really freaky.
In a way, that does sound very military, because my ex husband or whatever, he was in the military, and he said that like they did something in the military where it looked like it was daytime, and then boom, and then it looked like it was night again. So like, I don't know. That sounds military to me though too. He said
Well,
like they do freaky stuff in the military, and they made it look like it was daytime when it was night. It was so scary. I don't know.
that's that's like going back to like Area 51, where it's like, okay, we saw a triangular spaceship thing.
Yeah.
They were actually building the stealth bombers, so which is a
Hmm.
triangular shape. So some of these things could be military, but I some of them I don't know why they would go like spy on like some guy living out there.
Well, no, and like there's other unexplainable stuff too that doesn't sound military. Like they would see like shadow figures out at their windows. They would hear like people walking, and then like they would notice these shadows would be looking in, and then they said the shadows were in the house, and like so there's a lot of even like demonic and stuff. It's just like a mixture of all the supernatural stuff. It lives on that ranch basically. That's where all the creatures are. I wouldn't be surprised if there ain't no Bigfoot out there. There's everything
Well,
out there.
well, they bring up Bigfoot, but it's kind of mixed in with the Skinwalker, which in the Bigfoot world, like Dogman is definitely said to be different than a
Hmm.
werewolf, which is different than a Bigfoot. But the fact, to me, like if I saw anything, all that would get my attention, and that's what got the attention of the Bigfoot community, and brought the ufologists with the Bigfoot. And again, many people see Bigfoot and UFOs in the same spot sometimes, so it could all be connected in and of itself. Which the only thing separated now is the poltergeist type stuff.
Hmm.
And I don't ever want to see anything looking in my window. And that's the part that'd be freaky, like stuff disappearing, like they said, like piles of wood moving, or those they found those like like holes in the ground just all over the
Oh,
place.
it was
That
giant chunks.
like why would a human even bother,
Well,
or
the thing that kind of like disturbed me was like the stuff with the cattle. Like a lot of that stuff kind of freaked me out. Um, just within like minutes they would go out, they'd come back from the store, all the cows were dead or something, stuff like that. That's like really freaky. Like one of the times when all the cows got killed, it like seemed like they dropped off of something really high. But it's like, what? How would they? But they were all messed up and mangled, and
yeah, the cattle mutilation thing in and of itself is peculiar because we know what every predator does to animals, and when they find like surgical circles or like a cow where just its liver is missing or
hmm.
just just its tongue, and you're like like the one they showed in the thing, like I think it's the one you were talking about where like its head was okay but nothing else, just the spine was there, and you're like, why? No
Did
animal
I
would do
say
that.
that?
No human would do that. I don't know if it was that one, but they showed that one for a while, and that one freaked me out. But which I think is just the same as like if it fell from a high thing, and you're like, why would this even happen? Why would you? People often ask,
That would happen.
why would an alien even bother with cattle? Like they're not probably eating it. They would study us first, and that leads into, like people who have say there wasn't many or if any abduction stories, I will say.
But there's a lot of stuff with UFOs and cows. Like that's the thing.
Yeah,
Like
it's weird.
it's like kind of a joke, even like beaming up cows. Like that's kind of a thing. Um, but it almost seemed like these cows were all beamed up, and then they're like, "All right, we don't want them," and then they threw them down, and then they
Right. Like
died or something.
when there's no use for what they were doing to 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 anything on that place.
Seemed kind of
Now,
cruel, actually, if you think about it. It's very cruel to the animals. So I don't know if the aliens or whatever they are, I don't think they're good. I don't think they're very nice. They seemed really sinister and dark.
they mentioned the phrase jokester throughout the documentary. Like whatever's going on, it's nobody was truly harmed, but like it was going out of its way in every situation, whether it be an orb to like a paranormal in the house to the cows to whatever. Like they were just straight up messing with whatever was there. And that in and of itself is it's not maliciously evil, but it's like they said it's a jokester. It's like Loki's over there, like what's going on? Like
Yeah, but I mean, they killed a bunch of cows. I mean, they weren't nice to the animals. And they did it
true.
almost like a prank or something, like, haha, look at all your animals. But it's like, that's just mean.
Yeah,
These aliens are real jerks, dude.
whatever it is not nice. And I'm glad that no humans have been killed or harmed. But who's to say? Like they keep poking around. Like I hope they do keep studying it, but nobody gets hurt. Obviously. Now, I wanted to bring up a quick little story. Like they mentioned missing time talking to one lady who was a teacher,
Hmm.
and she brought up that, and that comes up a lot in the UFO universe, where people like 3 hours are missing. I have a story. It's not missing time, but um, me and Max were in a very familiar place where we were hunting, and literally there's a road, woods, and then train tracks. And
Hmm.
we've been to this place where we could do it. We were blindfolded, and we're walking straight, and we said, "Wait a minute! Like that's not." We were supposed to run into the train tracks, and we said, "Okay." We went from the road, and we came across the road again. We literally were turned around mid walk. We never turned. We never even stepped to the left or the right. And you can ask him. We were literally turned around. Like it was the strangest thing that's ever happened to us in the woods. Like walking a straight line, couldn't could have moved us, and we were just turned around in mid walk, and it freaked us out. To this day, we get like weirded out talking about it. So that to me is a form
Ooh.
of missing time, and they bring that up. So what could that be? Like those are the things we need to like think about.
Do
Like
you
we can't
think
even.
that you were like it was some sort of glitch or something?
Yeah, it literally was like a glitch in the matrix where like the world like I guess they would say like an alien did it, but like who cares
Hmm.
how it happens, how you have missing time, or like where people are you hear about this where like so and so went missing, they were found 40 miles away in an hour, and there's no way they could have walked or drove that far. Like,
Or what if it was like a Men in Black situation where the aliens did some weird stuff to y'all and you don't even know about it, and then you're just like, okay,
yeah,
this is weird. What in the
that's it.
maybe they did experiments on y'all.
Great.
I'm just saying,
Well,
you don't know. Maybe
well,
they did.
I'm very dumb, so they probably didn't find out much. But um, that's that's the fun. I say fun, but that's the question with something like being neuralized in the Men in Black. Like
Mhm.
you wouldn't even know. Like it
Yeah.
could have just happened to us just now, and
Hmm.
they told us a different story. So, but that's the one strange thing I wanted to bring up where we couldn't. I can explain almost every weird situation in my life, but that one, like
Hmm.
literally, because and we weren't alone. Like it was, I wasn't alone. Like I had, and we experienced the same thing. So it was so take that like as you want, but
Hmm.
that's what. these people were talking about. And whenever you hear missing time, like, could you imagine, like, you look at your watch, you look back and 3 hours are gone, but the people next to you are like, no, no, you've been here the whole time. You're like, oh, I'd freak out. But
Yeah, no, like that would definitely be scary, but I mean, your situation sounds really scary too. Like you were in a different position, you were facing the other
no,
way or something, or what happened
no,
exactly?
not a different position, like just turned around.
Okay, so you're turned like the other
Like,
way.
we're walking north and suddenly it's south. Like, it just didn't make
Did the
sense.
view look different too? Like did it like in front of you? Like did it didn't look different, or were you like, whoa?
Well, it changed. It had to change, but we didn't notice the change.
Oh, so how'd you know from your like
Well, like,
compass
because
or something, or
we parked on a road, and
uh-huh.
the road is parallel with the train tracks that you would come like as you're walking.
Mm-hmm.
And we started at the road. You're supposed to end up at the train tracks, and when we went straight and ended up back at the road. And
Mm,
we didn't step to the left or the right. We didn't do anything different, and it never happened again or since. It's or before,
that's
and
spooky.
that's our weirdest story. I can tell you that much. Where
That's
it's like,
very spooky.
what? But that's why I say they mentioned missing time. That's to me. That's what that has to feel like. Where or abduction, where people are found naked in another town,
Hmm.
or this place where like
Well, there's even
a portal.
stories like uh I'm not gonna get religious or anything, but there's stories about people saying they went to hell for like several hours and they come back in the time. So there's scary stuff like that too. It's like really unexplainable
Well,
phenomenon.
I will say, and I'm not just saying this as an atheist, but they could have been taken to an alien ship and they consider it hell just because they don't know what's going on. That could be it could be both. It could be there, but
Yeah. Well, I'm a sort of a believer that I believe like demons and aliens are kind of the same thing, really. They're just like from a different dimension, but that's just kind of where I get at, you know.
no. What if like the term demon we talk about is an ancient term? What if those were just aliens and people back then said demon because it
Yeah.
looked different? Like a gray alien is not going to be normal to anybody.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Or they
yeah.
had wings and we get the image of the winged demon or horns, or because the devil with horns, as we know, was a medieval drawing type image. Like the
Mm-hmm.
Bible never says horns with a pitchfork. People,
No, that's just people have seen
people
that,
drew
you know,
that
or
in the
whatever.
Middle Ages. But what if they saw that and that was an
I
alien?
think they have seen that because I told you I've had sleep paralysis for years,
Yeah.
and I've seen stuff that looks like what you'd consider like a basic demon. I don't know, like a horn
Um,
thing with horns. And I've seen things that look like aliens too when I had sleep paralysis. They look like gray, like the alien. So it's like people when they do art based on things, it's a lot of time there's truth to it. It's like what they actually saw. Um, like that. It's just the people draw what they see sometimes. When it's
right. I can only say I've had sleep paralysis. I didn't see anything, but definitely couldn't move.
hmm
And the one I died twice, and the one
hmm
time that was long, it was just like sleeping without dreaming. But that doesn't mean there isn't something else. So,
hmm
but you never know. But yeah, I think like what if even you take any period of time, any version of the gods, right?
hmm
From Norse Thor to Greek gods to even Egyptians. What if that's just what they saw and they wrote that down or drew it on the wall?
Well, that's like probably where I feel like most religions come from things that people experience, and that's just, like even in the Bible, it's like these guys are writing down like what they're experiencing. I mean, I think the Bible is basically just a book about Jesus' life or whatever, but there's a lot of stuff it's just like people talking about their experiences, really, things that
Uh,
happened to them.
in a couple of conversations I've had, and the videos of me having these conversations are on my channel,
Hmm.
where we bring up Ezekiel, and I say, I'll
Hmm.
ask people, so do you believe the fiery chariots were a fiery chariot, or could it have been an alien experience? And I've had Christians say it could have been either one. Like, it's very
Hmm.
weird the things those people wrote down. If
Oh
they're
yeah.
just stories, they are odd stories. Like, it really makes no sense. And even the ancient aliens thing, like, they bring Ezekiel up, like, he saw
Hmm.
described what could be a UFO. It's very clear. But
Oh yeah.
so
Well,
it's a
there's
full circle
also
thing.
there was okay, like a lot of Christians say that ghosts are all just demons. No matter if they look like your grandma, they're all just a demon, right? But there's a scripture in the Bible that talks about a guy like a Christian. He's a guy of like God, whatever. He wants to talk to his brother. His brother's dead, and God leads him to go to the witch or whatever, and the witch summons his brother. It's like, well, that's a story that's
Yeah.
very confusing to me because it's like, I don't think that was a demon or whatever opposing. I think that was just like supposed to be his brother or whatever talking to him, right? I mean, isn't that
Yeah.
contradicting or I don't know. That's just always something that confused me.
Well, maybe, and I'll say maybe because I live in the Catholic South and did 12 years of Catholic school,
Hmm.
where they talk about the hierarchy of angels, seraphim, etc.
Yeah.
But if like demons and angels, but like they would like the way you say that like everything's a demon, that's pretty strange to me. Like
Well, I
they
don't say
they
that, but I'm saying that's
not
that's
no,
like
but like you heard that
the
where
Christians
here
say
it's
that a
like
lot.
maybe because it's Catholic, like yeah,
Hmm.
there's a demon aspect, but there's just as much good. If there's evil, there's got to be good. So everything you see isn't like if you see your grandma, that might be the soul or spirit or energy of that person.
Hmm.
Now, it could be a trick. The devil does try and trick, as they say, but that would be a stretch. But you know, going back to places like the Skinwalker Ranch, like they say, yeah, there was a porthole and
Hmm.
something crawled out of it, and it had arms and it had, that could be anything. Like,
It's like
because
what we talked about the portal in Arizona too. They have portals out there and they see weird like they've seen Bigfoots come out of those.
yep,
They've seen reptilians come out of those. They've seen those horn looking devil things come out of them. They've seen the shadow. They've seen everything like the skinwalker. Like they've seen all kinds of pretty much all these creatures that we talk about have been seen coming out of these portals. So it could just be that all these monsters, I mean, they're just coming from a different dimension and they're coming into our world.
yeah, and that's one thing that it's kind of comforting in a way in the Bigfoot world. Like we
Hmm.
use that as like that's the missing link between apes and man. It's
Hmm.
not some almost Harry and the Hendersons the movie where
Hmm.
it's and the reports are 90% of the time it had a human face,
Oh
but
yeah.
it wasn't, but the body wasn't. So like that's like I said, it's almost comforting. Like okay, that's almost like us. But yeah, a skinwalker, or like I sent you that picture that there's a monster in every state, like
Hmm.
the Mothman. Like, what is that? Like, come on, like that's
Yeah,
not
those
human,
have a sinister vibe to it.
right?
A Bigfoot can have like a nice like Harry and the Henderson vibe to it, like where you're like, okay, I don't necessarily think that we're gonna hang out, but I'm cool with him if he's cool with me, kind of thing. You know.
Um, there's a guy, and I've spoken to him through Facebook,
Mhm.
and he did research, and there's only been about two reports ever of somebody being attacked by a Bigfoot. They're all nice. I
Mhm.
say nice, like they're walking away, or they
I think they
throw a
want
rock at you.
trouble. I think they just kind of want.
Right. Well, his point is, given what we think about them, like their size and strength, they could kill us if they want. So the fact that
Mhm.
we walk away shows like they don't like you said they don't want to
They're
mess
not
with it.
violent.
They there's reports of like rock throwing or like stick breaking, which is a gorilla something gorillas do. Like they'll throw stuff to get you away,
Well,
or
they're supposed to be sort of like us and like the.
they're I think of them as the missing link. Like The
Mhm.
gorillas, because gorillas do a lot of, they do sign language, so they're not too far away, but they can't speak. And there's some reports of Bigfoot speak. It's not like us, like they have
Mhm.
their own language, but that's a story for a different day.
They seem very
But
recluse. They
well,
don't,
that's
they're probably scared of us in a way.
somebody somebody made a good point, and he said, if they're real, we are probably their television. They live in the woods, and these obnoxious humans like are building these buildings or like shooting guns and doing these ridiculous things. So that's why many
Mhm.
reports of them are like looking at you from a distance, like,
Mhm.
what are these idiots doing? And but there are some where,
Oh, so they looking at us like we're the apes. It's like, look at those dumb apes over
right,
there.
but I can tell you there's many stories of them saving people's lives. Like a
Mhm.
guy, there's a big story, and the guy was like a doctor and a lawyer. He was canoeing, got tipped over and broke his leg. He was drowning, woke up on the shore with a Bigfoot type creature around him, stayed for a while to protect him from other things, and then left. And you hear those stories, and it's like, well, it's probably nice sometimes. But the things the Skinwalker Ranch, they're called Beast. There's the big wolf that was shot. Like that's the
Mhm.
thing I don't want to run into, or an
Mhm.
evil alien. So yeah, that place, it's very evil-ish sounding, where it doesn't, like, even if it doesn't hurt you, I don't want my stuff going missing and popping up in different places, or you know, I I I wouldn't. I'm one of those people where I feel like I would love to see an actual UFO, where I'm like, yes, that's what that is. But they say it in the documentary, where many people say, yeah, I would love to see X, Y, or Z. But when you do, some people, pee themselves or just
Mhm.
break down, and it happens in the Bigfoot world where people say, yeah, I saw it, and I'll never go in the woods again, or you
Yeah.
know. So, but that's the same way, like, my mom was in a bad accident when I was a very young kid, and she'll never take a main big street again. She'll take
Mhm.
back streets everywhere. And but that's how we are as humans. So that's why I was saying, would you want to go there? Like, we say that, but
Like trauma.
yeah, but people go into haunted places. I'll do that because I don't care. I guess because I don't care. Let's, let's
Well,
go.
I'm
But
not really scared of the haunted. Like I said, it's like I feel like I'm safe, or I feel like I'm protection, or whatever. I'll take some crosses and stuff. I'll go in there with my Bible. I'm not scared.
uh to me, though, I don't think, if ghosts are real, they don't care about religion. They're just a
Well,
passed on
I got
spirit.
my oil to get rid of them.
Your oil?
I got my holy oil. Yeah,
Well, I, I, to me, that's like, if vampires are real, then yeah, I'll become a believer real quick.
you gotta get the garlic out. I don't like it.
Well, they always say, like,
Where did that
the
come from?
cross.
The garlic thing. Do you know?
Those are, and we should do a show on this, especially close to Halloween. The garlic comes from the same reason, like a steak, where, like, back in the olden days, like, they would, when they had to move a body, they would dig it up, and if sometimes it would crack open, and
Mhm.
they couldn't embalm people back then, so, like, when you die, like, you would bleed out your mouth or your nose, and they would see this, and your hair grows, so they're
Mhm.
like, this person is still alive. They have to be coming out at night. And that's how they would stake them into the coffin. That's where the stake comes from. And the garlic comes from, like, an affliction it would cause to stop. And I don't remember exactly, but I
Mhm.
think we should talk about, like, that and why Silver stops a werewolf. There's reasons, but we should save that for another
Yeah,
show.
let's just do a whole vampire
No, but
episode.
good question. No, all monsters, like, there's an answer for almost all of them, and it's
Mhm.
really weird. Like,
Like the
why?
origin.
Yeah, like, why a silver bullet, or why a stake to the heart? And you know,
Yeah. Well, I
but
didn't even know about that zombie brain thing till you told me. I didn't know that came from that movie. I thought like zombies always
oh
ate brains. I thought they were always, that's the thing
no,
too.
they were almost all zombies are flesh eating zombies. Return
Mhm.
of the Living Dead gave us the brain thing and it caught on for some weird reason, but in that movie you can't kill them by stabbing or shooting the brain. So that's just its own universe. But most are called flesh eating zombies,
Well, yeah,
which you can
Walking Dead, they're basically like flesh eating zombies, you know.
which but in that movie, Return of the Living Dead, those zombies can talk, and when they ask one of them, "Why are you doing eating brains?" and they say, "Because it helps the pain of being dead,"
Mhm.
and that's the only movie that gives you a reason why they eat anything. Like, why, if zombies were real, would they be biting people?
Well, that's like
So,
not a bad explanation too. It's like they
yeah,
are like so hurt, and it's sort of like their medicine or something, you know, to eat us. Um, it's a lot like zombies are a lot like people with rabies. You know, people have
it
rabies desire to bite you, like they want to.
Yeah, they use that in a lot of the movies, like foaming at the mouth and being angry, like when animals they get angry and foam at the mouth.
Mhm.
You know, it's funny, and I'm just gonna say I won't say the word, but given like at the time of this recording, there's a virus going around, and two things I saw. One person, I say one person, but like they were talking about when are the zombies going to start, and then somebody put up a picture of Mad Max and said, "When are we going to start dressing like this?" And I thought it was cute to make a laugh out of it because in most of those apocalyptic movies, people dress really weird, and it makes no sense. Like, why would we wear leather and chaps and stuff?
No, I like Mad Max though. Yeah,
Oh no, it's a great movie, but why would we dress like that?
because
You
of
know.
I don't know.
Well, in there, I think it's because of apocalypse happened
Yeah,
and nuclear war and clothes weren't, you know.
yeah, we got
Mad Max himself is wearing his old uniform, but anyway.
leather and stuff, and chains and stuff. The apocalypse.
Yeah, well, the bad people had mohawks and like
Uh,
assless chaps and
yeah, I don't want them all
dre-
assless. Good on it.
no, but I want to say I wish everybody well. Everybody stay safe. Everybody wash your hands, stay clean, and
And store.
a- anybody needs help, I'll help in any way. We're here for.
Yeah, but don't go out of your house. Try to stay home. Like,
Yeah, from I heard we're supposed to all wear masks soon just to go places.
oh, they're
Like
there already. We got.
like we were doing it because it was safe, but I heard like they're gonna start making us, and I'm like, oh great, but I
Yeah,
don't know how true that is.
I've been hearing stuff too, and I'm like, that's scary.
Well, how is your town like? Overall,
No zombos. Yeah, no
that's not
zombies.
what I meant. Like, have there been many cases or?
Not out here in the country. Like, you know, we kind of are like, get the fuck away from me out here. So, the attitude when you live out in the country, we don't like to be around each other. So, we're pretty good out here. Isolation's good. You know, we go to Walmart
Well,
and that's it. You know, and we come home.
yeah, problem here is if you were to look at a map in New Orleans, like it's New Orleans and I'm in the surrounding suburbs, and then it's swamps. Like we're really trapped within ourselves. But there's pictures of like the French Quarter and it's empty, which is good. But
Hmm.
there's been actually a small amount of cases. We had I think his full name was Ellis Marcellus. He was a famous jazz musician. He passed away from the virus. So there's
Um,
been some sad cases, but it's not like a big number, which is good. So I'm hoping there's a good cap on this whole thing.
the
I'm
numbers
sorry.
low. If we stay indoors, we can keep the numbers lower. And everybody should wash their hands anyways, guys. Even if there's, just wash your hands. Don't be gross. Like, just be clean. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face.
Yeah,
Touch an old person.
we.
That's
I
stupid.
used to. I've always kept like hand sanitizer in my house. I'm kind of a germ thing with my hands, always been. But now it's like, oh, I've been prepared this whole time.
I
So
always have I always have hand sanitizer too, but it's kind of messed up. I had a big bottle, but it was kind of on the empty side. I was gonna get me another bottle of it, and I kind of forgot. And then like a week later, this kind of happened. So I'm like, Now I can't get any, and all I have is this tiny bottle of it. So I'm pretty much out. So I have to make my own with some aloe vera and alcohol. So that's the trick, guys. If you get the aloe vera gel with alcohol, like I have the supplies, so I can make some. But if you could get that stuff, guys, go to Lowe's and get those products and make
You
your own.
know, my my better half like told me she has figured out, or she found the way or saw the way to make it yourself, and I think that's cool. Like I've never, but you should maybe make a video on that because I've never seen anybody do it. But that's a cool idea, like
Do you
making
want
that yourself.
me to make a video?
I think it'd be cool. Like
I
I
got
have,
stuff to make. I can show everybody.
yeah, but I didn't even know that was possible. Like to do it in home.
Yeah, have you seen the aloe vera? You know that gel stuff you put on burns?
I've used it
Yeah,
here and there.
that with rubbing alcohol and it makes hand sanitizer.
How much do you need though? Like a lot?
I just have a bottle of it, and I have a bottle of rubbing alcohol. I don't know. I was gonna fill up
Okay.
a little thingy right here with it, little travel thing. So I'm not making a big deal of it, but I can.
Nah, we have a big bottle, and I'll squirt it into that size and keep that like in my car, and you know.
Yeah, I have this on my bag, so I always have the hand sanitizer because I have a kid too, and kids are kind of nasty, so you always want to have hand sanitizer if you have children. Because little boys,
We
they
we
can't.
loaded up on foam and soap and put them everywhere, and we have little stools so my youngin can climb up there, and I'll be like, get up and make him do it because the kids are the ones who just put their hands in their mouth for no reason.
Oh, they do, and that's why I think school to be out now because of kids are really they spread the stuff so they don't.
Yeah.
And
Uh, Now I'm a homeschooler dad now too because
oh yeah,
school.
how's that?
Well, school would normally end in May anyway, so there's no reason to even try to go back.
Yeah, we don't have
So,
that much time. Has it been okay though?
um, the other day, I think it was Tuesday, my boy's teacher got put out a call on Zoom, and the whole class showed up,
Hmm?
and we all talked to each other so the kids could say hi to their friends and just and so they're going to do that like every 2 weeks to keep everybody's spirits up. And but we got like they sent home booklets and papers and how to keep the studies going, so we're all homeschooling now.
Yeah, like we did Zoom too, but this is just like not new to me though because I've been homeschooling all year. And I've gotten really, I guess, good at it, just because I've gotten used to it. So, but it's not bad. You get to spend time with your kids, so it's nice.
Yeah, but I hate the fact that they're getting all cooped up. Like
Yeah, I mean,
here you can see it strain, like mine's going hyper and you're like, oh.
yeah, they do need that playtime and stuff. So, like, hopefully, this isn't gonna be uh going on for too much longer. By next year, hopefully, they'll go back to school.
Well, I do have some advice. State parks and national forests and stuff like that, which I'm big into anyway,
Mhm.
are safe places to go because you rarely run into other people when you're on these like long trails, or when you see a person you can get away from them really quick and get into nature, but always be careful. But it's a good idea, like if you're close to a national park or a state park, go enjoy nature for a little bit. There's no crowds,
Mhm.
and it gives your kids something to do, something to see. Go go rent a canoe for a day and just you'll be away from everybody. So just an idea because we're all cooped up now.
A good idea. I go to the park a lot, but I go there. My kid can't play on the park though. The park like closed down, but so he's been going for walks with me. I go there to exercise and stuff, and they have like workout equipment. So I'm like, oh, it's like the gym for free. So
Right.
I go to the park stuff. So yeah, I go to the park and stuff. I, we can even go take a walk around the block.
Yeah. Well, to bring it back, I hope everybody enjoys the scary story. If anybody wants to check it out, The documentary we're referring to is The Hunt for the Skinwalker. It's on Hulu right now. It may be on other outlets, but that's where I saw it. It's a good little accumulation of what's been going on since like 2003 when the book dropped, and we find it interesting. So if anybody else does, it's something to go check out, or just look up the story in and of itself. Skinwalker Ranch. It's in Utah, I think northern Utah, but um, spooky, spooky stuff. That's why we bring it to Spooky Saturday.
I think it's been over 20 years people have been seeing stuff out there too.
Hmm.
It's been a long time. And it's pretty creepy. Like the documentary, it kind of it's a weird kind of creepy though. It's really unpleasant. Like seeing what happened to the cows and stuff.
Yeah, they briefly touch in the beginning, like yeah, the Native Americans from 100 years ago talked about weird stuff themselves, but the documentary starts like in the 70s when like modern people started to use it as ranches and trying to raise cows, and it's been bad ever since. Now, like just science people own it, and they're still trying to catch something, and they can't because whatever's there is too smart for us.
Oh, they're pranksters, so they're pranking.
And that's the worst kind of thing, like ghost or whatever. Like it's not nice. It's obviously trying to be mean and move your car keys on you. And
Yeah, they're pretty wild out there. And there's giant wolves that come on your property, and I guess like some of them are friendly, but I don't think I would go near a giant wolf if I saw one.
yeah, the Skinwalker legend in and of itself is not a good story. Where the Skinwalker is sometimes the witch doctor from the native tribe, and they're not here to be good. So, but it's just kind of a name that stuck with that. But UFOs were the big topic, but we wanted to bring it to the masses because Spooky Saturday, and not to let the cat out the bag. But we have some good, cool stuff planned for some more Saturdays and some different shows, but we're not going to let that out. You got to stay tuned.
Yeah, we're working on those. That's in the work.
Because there's some cool stuff, and now's the time to binge watch some things. So we can we can bring it, and that gives more ideas for people to watch where they might not have heard. Because one of the shows we're talking about won't say what it is. We just heard about it ourselves. So
Oh, I want to do a spooky Saturday all about John Waters because I love
yeah.
his movies. And I don't know if you're really into him or not, but I really like Divine and like John Waters.
Hmm.
You like that stuff?
Oh yeah, come on. I know everything from Ghost to Bigfoot. Like I like I might not know everything about it, but I love to learn more. So
You like John Waters though? Like
yeah.
the he made Hairspray and Female Troubles. He made a bunch of movies. Polyester. Have you ever seen those
Hmm.
movies? You like those?
I love Hairspray.
Oh, you need to watch the other ones then.
I I think I've seen what was it, Polyester, right?
You might have.
Well, no, that's the name, right?
Yeah, that's got like Divine in it.
Yeah. I saw that. I didn't see the
Female
didn't
Trouble.
John Travolta was in when they redid Hairspray? Wasn't that him?
Yeah, we don't talk about that remake.
We don't talk about that. Yeah, was that like Ricky Lake and all that?
The original one had Ricky Lake in it.
Oh,
I
that
love
was the original.
and it
Okay.
had Debbie Harry in it too, and she's like, I love her. I love Blondie. Everything Blondie.
Oh, kidding? Come on. I tell you what, I'm gonna write that down on the list.
Hmm.
We have Little Shop of Horrors on the list, and now we have that on the list. So we got a stacked house. So always keep checking for what we're gonna be coming out with,
We're gonna be talking about so much movies that y'all probably haven't even seen, and hopefully y'all will, give them a shot. I think
or documentaries like this. Like it's not always movies. Like
Well, Wendy liked our video. She was like excited to see Phantom after she watched our.
I was there in the chat and saying we said she was awesome. I'm glad she showed up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
But yeah, so um, there you go. There's another spooky Saturday for you. We talked about the documentary from Hulu, The Hunt
Mm-hmm.
for the Skinwalker, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. We're gonna keep going down the rabbit hole when it comes to these subjects. So
Mm-hmm.
always stay tuned for more.
Yep. All right. Do you want me to?
Mm. Well, we can say bye.
Okay. All right, guys. So we got a lot of stuff planned for new shows, and we're gonna be here on Thursdays and Saturdays. So just come and see us, and we're working on something for Tuesday too. So just keep your eyes peeled for that. We got merch. We got merch. If you want the merch, we got the merch. I'll put the link in the description as always.
And I did an unboxing of some of the merch on my channel
Yeah,
of the beautiful Hannah stuff.
and it was a good unboxing. Mhm.
There'll be more too because there's more coming in.
Yeah.
Some's not here yet, but one came in today. But I'm gonna wait, and I
Mhm.
want to at least do a couple at a time. So
Well, you're gonna be able to show the Spooky Saturday merch too. So that'll be.
yeah, me and Max are trying for this weekend, but definitely next weekend we should have everything by then. So
Mhm. So hit the bell, subscribe, sub to ChuBs, and just
hit the like on every video.
give us a like.
So
Don't give us a thumbs down. Well, you can thumbs down; it will help. So whatever you want to do. If you didn't like it, you don't gotta give us a thumb up. But
but
yeah.
we're here to bring entertainment for everybody.
Mhm. So
So
yeah, that's all I gotta say. You gotta plug anything else?
no, just anybody that comes, thank you for coming.
Yeah. Thank you for watching.
All right, good night.